Hello, welcome. This is episode 3. It has been a while. Let's put it lightly. So in this episode, we're going to kind of talk about long distance friendships, which we thought would be relevant, just kind of given the obvious, I guess. And also just because of like COVID and things like that, such friendships have just become more common, I think, versus kind of a reluctance or people not really understanding beforehand, which obviously wasn't really by people's choice. But I think it'd still be interesting nevertheless. So I thought maybe we'd kind of start with like how we became friends if we've not covered that yet.
Yeah, I don't think we really have covered it, like briefly probably, but not in any detail. If
Yeah.
there's detail to it, because I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure actually. I feel like it's kind of strange because like I know a lot of people would make friends online and things like that, but the way they do it is like, oh, I messaged them and that was it. But it wasn't really like that. We were kind of just in the same community for like a long time. Is probably the best way to put it, I guess.
Yeah, I think it was for at least 3 years or maybe even longer before we
Yeah.
actually met, and we weren't friends at first, I don't
No,
think.
we weren't. No.
I don't think we had beef though, but like a lot of our friends now we definitely had beef with.
I know, right?
But I don't think we did.
Yeah, I don't think we did. I know that you were like friends with like you were in like a certain group. I was kind of in like a certain group. Well, I kind of made my own group because at the time everyone was like really kind of, I don't want to say like exclusionary, but I feel like that's what it was. Everyone stuck to themselves. They didn't really talk to people that weren't outside their group and all this sort of
Yeah.
stuff. And it's really not the same anymore, which is nice. But at the time, we were just like, oh, fuck it. Like, we're going to make our own group. And I'm still friends with all those people now, mostly. Some people just disappeared off the face of the earth and we don't know where they've gone.
Truly. And then sometimes they pop up and they're like, oh, how are you guys doing? I'm like,
I'm like, huh?
whoa, yeah, you're still in this group.
I'm like, wow, okay, you're alive. But yeah, no, and then kind of, I guess we ended up branching out to different groups and everyone just kind of became friends in the end. But yeah, it was definitely a couple of years where I was very aware of who you were, but like I was like, oh,
Yeah.
no.
Because I remember you, that was you, right? In the London video.
That was Anna, I think.
Really? Oh, I thought you were there too. I know Anna is in it.
Yeah, Anna was in it. I was gonna go because we
That's
were
it then.
in, this was during GCSEs, right? Which you sit when you're 15 and 16. So this is how long ago this was.
I definitely do remember you tweeting about like wanting to go.
I was looking at going because I think I didn't have an exam that day, but I think I wasn't allowed to go because I had like a science exam the day after or something. There was some reason that I couldn't go. Yeah, so Against the Current, we're making like a music video in London. This was what, 2016, I think. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to drop names because it's just going to get confusing for people. But I was friends with the person who was in it. The friend of a friend sort of thing. And yeah, I was gonna go. This was doing a music video in like the park, or was it like, well, it wasn't a park, was it like Leicester?
They I know they did like the part just them walking through London, and then I don't know if it was a park or not. They had like a bunch of fans around them, and it was fun.
Square somewhere, I know that much. But yeah, Against Current, their music video in London and stuff, and Chrissy sung on the tube. Like, I'm sorry, that's quite a lot of bravery, really. Londoners are fuck you do it.
Honestly, that's brave.
You know, it's not just like the random guy.
That happens.
Yeah. So this proves how long we'd been aware of each other. Like I think I'd only been really on that kind of Twitter space since 2015, so only a year.
Yeah, same.
Before that. But we didn't really talk till what, I'm gonna say 18. Was it 18, 17 maybe, potentially?
I think 2017, because that's when Hunger did their tour with Against the Current.
Wow, yeah, we were already friends. Okay, yeah, I'd say it's very late 2016 or very early 17 maybe.
Yeah, because I definitely do remember.
I remember following you private.
Yes, exactly, and that was like where I talked about, like, you know,
yeah, everything.
yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So we definitely were more friendly by that point. But yeah, it was very strange before that. I said that in the most confusing way ever, I think. Just
Yeah,
Twitter.
we basically just met on Twitter.
Yeah,
Through a band, yeah.
that's the easiest way to say it. And we would kind of have mutual friends or people we knew at the time. Although
Yes.
I think I was really badly falling out with one of your friends at that point, which is really quite funny to think of. I'm trying not to name drop anyone, but we.
Oh, true. But that's fine now.
Yeah, we literally hung out like for a whole weekend. So like, yeah. It's
So you can name drop. It doesn't really matter now.
Yeah, and I were really not friendly. I don't know what it was over.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, that was hilarious. And at that time, I feel like if you were falling out with someone's friend, you couldn't become friends with them. Like there was like a weird things going on.
Yeah, that is true. Then eventually it was fall of 2018 we actually first met
Yeah.
in real life. Was it at King's Cross?
Yeah, it was at King's Cross because you were there with India as well. You two had already met up, and I was at King's Cross, and I think you'd come from Victoria to King's Cross because she got the train into Victoria, I think it was, or maybe Waterloo. I don't know. It was one of the other stations. And I could only get into King's Cross coming from like the north and stuff. And yeah, it was like literally in like it was by those weird like bench things they have outside of King's Cross.
I remember being so shocked how small you actually were. I was like, wait, adjust.
That is, I quite remember that. And then we went and drank in a Starbucks, and I think someone got the wrong drink, and we had to kind of be like, hey. And I remember it being quite awkward. But
at first, it just was awkward in general because we were like, you're now in front of me. You're not just like in my text messages or like on FaceTime or anything. It was like, you're right here. Like, what the hell do I do? And we were all, I remember, because there was a little bit of time between each of us getting our drinks. So it was like one of you went to get a table and then the other went there too. And I think either you or me were the latest to join. And it was just like, we sat down and we were just like, okay, what do we do now? And some of us had food as well. So we were like, how do you have a conversation while you're also eating? And we were all way too aware of like being there.
I agree.
Really, I don't know. It was weird. In a way, it was like embarrassing for no reason.
Yeah, I mean, I think we got over it quite quickly, but it was that stuff.
Yeah.
It was like, and I remember someone took an Instagram story and it was like the most horrific angle of me. My eyebrows looked like they're taking up like half of my forehead. And then I just remember reposting it anyway, like, fuck it. But I remember looking at it and being like, oh my God, do I look like that? Like,
oh my God. That's so funny though.
That'll be somewhere in like the archive on Instagram. I'm not scrolling back right now. I can't be bothered. But yeah, that's a funny memory.
That was really funny. And then later, I don't really remember like how that went and how we eventually met up with the rest of the group.
Oh yeah.
I think we all just went to the venue and that's where we met up.
Oh no. What happened was Kati and Vicky had their flights cancelled because there was like airline strike or something like that.
It was Ryanair.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, there was an airline, like a baggage handling strike or something like that. And they had to get like a 12-hour bus. And I was staying at the same place as them. So I had to go and pick up the keys. And I'm pretty sure you two came with me.
Yeah, I definitely came with you.
And then I remember we went to get loads of drinks from a Tesco, like me and India, and we were carrying these bags and there was and our arms were like hurting.
Here, I remember this because then I had to stay at the apartment because Anna was coming over.
Oh yeah.
And we couldn't get a hold of her or whatever. So you and India went to get drinks and food and everything.
Really heavy.
And then when Anna arrived, we went to Tesco's and then we went to a different one, which was closer.
Oh, and we'd walked ages with these really heavy bags. Yeah.
Yes, and you guys went to one just way further away. I don't know why. And then because it was the release day of Against the Current's album Past Lives,
Yeah.
we just spent ages decorating the place and like blowing up balloons, jamming to the new album. Like it was so much fun.
And there was some other stuff I'm probably not gonna mention, but we knew that day was pretty cool in general.
Yeah, for sure. Even though it didn't happen, but like we knew it was gonna be.
But I'm not. I mean, I still actually haven't told anyone about that. I don't think I've told it. Well, like our group knows, maybe a couple of others, but like it's not like a known thing. I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so. But it was generally like a really fun time, and I took like Dutch snacks and stuff. I fed you all with the Dutch food.
And then I think James and Darren turned up, and Evan was on his flight from Canada at that point.
Yeah.
I'm still mad that Evan came all the way from like Toronto.
He did it twice.
He did it twice as well, yeah. But for like a weekend that was, and I was like, oh my god.
Yeah, he was barely even in London.
He was there, he just popped up and then he disappeared.
But it was fun though, because after the show, we all just went back to the apartment again. And Evan was there as well. And like everybody was there.
Yeah. And
that's when, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. And just hanging out after the show was really fun.
Yeah. I'm remembering something that I'm gonna have to cut out so I don't come across as mean. Remember after the show when we had like loads of people like following us?
Yes. Oh my god.
What was that about? I don't know.
Because everybody knew who we were.
Yeah, that's true actually. It sounds weird, but like I promise we're not lying here. Because we had like, I remember we posted a photo together and it got like at least 70 likes. People being like, oh my god, you guys, that's wild.
Everybody was so excited that all of us met.
Exactly, yeah, because I think I'd met maybe a couple of you before. I don't really know, or maybe it was the first time meeting everyone, but
it's been chaos and fun.
It was a lot of fun. And now like one of them is like at a university really near me, so we actually have not really seen each other because of COVID and stuff, but we said like, oh, we're so close, we should meet up, and then it's just like
it just doesn't happen.
but we should. And then everyone else is just really spread out quite far. But yeah, like I've got so much admiration for like Kati and Vicky for taking that 12-hour bus. So that was a lot of respect, and a lot of fun. And we've met up several times since. I think I've met Kati the most because I went to Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's
crazy. So much fun.
But yeah, Twitter and things like that. And then obviously we kind of met up a couple of times since, and we probably would have met up more because we all really love traveling and things like that.
Yeah.
But because of COVID, it's just been completely fucked.
Yeah, because we then met in 2019 in London again
in December.
Yeah. I was planning on coming over last year at least once or twice. But yeah, well, that didn't happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I was gonna like, they introduced the London to Amsterdam like Eurostar like last year as well.
Yeah,
and I was like,
but I don't think that makes a big difference with like money.
Yeah, I don't think it does. But that was something that I think they were doing like a promo thing when they first launched it, and I was like, oh, I'll do that. And then COVID was like, no, the fuck you won't.
Yeah.
But I was meant to travel loads. I was meant to go to like Brazil and Argentina and like Sweden and
True.
It's just, I don't think I'll go now because obviously because of COVID, it was like, I mean, I've saved some money, but also like family members have spent more money and things like that due to jobs and all this sort of stuff. So I don't think that's realistically going to happen for a while anyways. And Brazil's not doing well, put it that way. So it's going to be a while, yeah. But I'm just excited just to get out of England, frankly, because it's been so long. But the issue is like I'm fully vaccinated, but my friends obviously are not yet. They've had like one vaccine, and because it's like an 8-week gap, it means like they're not going to be vaccinated till probably like September, which
that sucks.
And like and at the minute, solo traveling, I've done a lot of it, and I'll probably do like a whole episode talking about it at one point. Solo travel is not I don't know if it is back on the ground yet, but the thing is, like, the whole thing about solo travel is you meet other people when you're there. But if
Yeah.
it's COVID, are you actually going to meet other people? Or are you just going to be kind of
Yeah.
sat sadly in a coffee shop?
I mean, it kind of depends as well. Like, you're obviously like really careful with your health and stuff. So in your case, you will be, kind of sitting alone at places.
Exactly.
Well, like somebody who is like completely healthy probably doesn't worry as much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I remember as well in 2019 when we met up, I had like, I think I started crying on the train after, not like sobbing, but I just felt like really off, like on the train, like after the show had ended and we'd all like split up again. And I was like, something just feels off. It feels like an end of an era. It feels like it's going to be years and years and years. And I can't really explain why. And then I think I texted you like, right, I had a feeling I needed to see as many people as I could again before like everyone left. So I was like, they had to go to the airport to go back to Germany, and you were getting an early morning bus and things. So I was like, right, we've got to be out early anyways because they're going to the airport. So I'll meet you for like breakfast. And that's when I told you, and you were like, oh, I know what you mean.
This is actually interesting because I completely forgot that you actually came down. That's so funny. Yeah, you did. Jeez, that's great. Yeah, that was fun. It was early as well, like early.
I'm pretty sure we were up at 5. Like,
Yeah, because usually the bus either goes at like 7 or 9,
I think it was 7.
and
Yeah.
I think it was 7.
Left the apartment at like 5 because their flight was 7, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
that was crazy.
And I just remember saying to you like something just feels off, and you were like, I kind of know what you mean, but none of us really knew exactly what was gonna happen.
Yeah, and you were like fully like, I don't think we'll see each other for a while, and I was like, well, we'll see about that.
Yeah, and I was like, I
Oh.
cannot explain why. It just feels like something big is about to happen, and I can't figure out why. And Kati was just like, oh, you just had a lot of changes in your life, that'll just be it, like you just had a long day when I was with her. And then now she's like, you were right. So it's very funny. Yeah, I don't know, it's an interesting one.
I also remember walking. We went to Winter Wonderland. Is that what it's called? Yeah.
It was so
And
busy.
it was
And it was like half flooded in some areas, I swear.
Yeah, honestly, we stood in line for like half an hour, 45 minutes. I don't even know. It was forever.
Yeah.
But once we were inside, it was so much fun. And I think you mentioned it then as well. Like, we're not seeing each other for a while, and you went on like a whole rant about it. Like, this is not. I don't even remember what you were saying, but like, you kept bringing it up, and it was so funny.
I was just like, I don't know, it was just really bothering me and I couldn't figure out why.
It's just overwhelming as well. Like, you just get I know what the feeling is like though. Like, something just enters your brain or whatever, and you're like, you cannot let it go.
And like, it's weird, it's like, but you don't know what, and the fact that you don't know what actually makes it worse.
Yeah, or
because,
worse, just like it makes it more confusing.
Yeah, because you're like, if I knew what it was, I'd be better prepared, but if I knew what it was, that would terrify.
I think you would have gone on, like, you would have had a mental breakdown like crazy.
You guys would be like, what the fuck do you mean a virus? Like, you need to stop watching so many sci-fi movies or something. Like, you guys would have been like,
that would have been funny though.
But it's weird looking back at it now because everyone's like, fuck.
We're fucked.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a weird one, but I kind of feel like it's taught a lot of people kind of what we already knew before about like how to actually maintain friendships over distance, and the fact that like it isn't really that hard, in my opinion.
No, I don't think so either. It's like, I mean, my first longer distance friendships were when I was like 12.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of used to it because I never really got along with people in my town anyway.
I think I don't have anyone I talk to from school that I talk to that I went to school with like regularly. I have a couple of people I speak to occasionally, and I like them, but like we're not really friends anymore. Then the friends I had for 8 years, can I say this, or would they? I don't think they're watching. I don't think they'll be watching, but they kicked off like if I even mention it, because they seem to figure out everyone knows who they are when I don't think anyone really does. I don't think anyone was paying that much attention to like who we were all friends with, to be honest. And they went and just left me like in the middle of Berlin at like midnight, and it was
That's so fucking rude. Like, how?
it,
Just
yeah,
no. Like, if even if you get into like an argument or whatever, you make sure
yeah,
everybody gets home. No, but I don't know. Traveling generally, like to see your long distance friends, is just one of the most fun things. Like, my favorite experience is usually Vienna, because it's like, it just feels so, every time I'm there I just feel so welcomed. Like, I can always hang out with Judith, like I can
yeah.
always stay with her.
She
I
showed me
adore
around
her.
Vienna, so that was nice.
Hmm? Oh
She showed
yeah,
me around when I
yeah,
went to Vienna.
she has showed me around many times. And actually at some point I remember this very, very well. um we so my first time I went to this area, and like I think it was 2 or 3 years later, we
Mhm.
wanted to do some photos in that area.
Oh,
And
okay.
she
Yeah.
actually goes to uni close to there.
Yeah, yeah.
And she didn't know where the hell this spot was anymore. And I just walked there like blindly. I was like, I know where to go. Like, I'm there pretty much every year since 2017 I've been.
Nice.
Even in 2020 I quickly went for like
Yeah. You were there
24
less
hours.
than hours, weren't you?
Yeah, less. I wasn't even, well, I think I landed at like 4, and then I don't know. No, I don't even remember. I think I had to be at the airport at like 4 or 5 the next day.
Yeah.
But it was
Being
the
quite,
best thing ever though. Like, I would do that 100% again.
yeah. No, I remember, and I think it was like quite like fast. I remember being like, "Have you had any sleep?" And you were like, "No."
I
So,
think I had like 2 hours of sleep. It was just generally because I went there to surprise some friends, and then um a concert and everything. And when I got on that flight again, or no, when we got back
mhm.
to Judith's parents' place, it was just, I was exhausted, but at the same time I was so happy that it all happened so perfectly.
Yeah.
And because I was really worried about if I would even get on the flight, if I would get into the country, if
Yeah, yeah.
and the day before, actually, I read something that I was supposed to have a test or whatever, and so I was stressing to Judith, her sister Lydia, because Judith was at work, and I was like, "Oh my god, like, can you help me? Like, please, I don't know what to do."
Mhm.
And she was like, "No," she did her research. She's like, "No, don't worry. Here are the screenshots. So if they ask anything, just show them this, so you know what you know
Yeah.
what you signed up for." And it was very stressful. I was terrified. And then, yeah, I don't know. It was generally like a pretty cool experience.
Mhm.
Very stressful, but I would do it again.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that is sort of the thing with long distance friendships. Maybe people don't realize, or maybe people just don't live their lives like this, and we're just a bit of an anomaly. Anomaly, I can't even say it. But like, I feel like it gives you something to look forward to in a way, and because you don't see each other as often, the time you spend together is more memorable or like
Yeah.
better. And I know, like, you could be like, oh well, you want a friend who you can see for coffee every day, sort of thing like that. That's great, but I'm not gonna lie, surely you run out of things to talk about.
Yeah, and even especially with Judith, like, I can probably tell you about every single time I've hung out with her.
Yeah,
Because it's just, like you said, more memorable. And even we just like told our story in pretty great detail.
for so many years ago.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I know a lot of details of like my first internet friends and us hanging out for the first few times and stuff like that. Like I just thinking about that now, I remember pretty much everything,
Yeah.
or at least like the most fun, times. And those were, I mean, at like 12, 13 years old, like the other side of the country is pretty long distance.
Yeah,
Because you
exactly.
cannot
Yeah.
just hop on a train and hang out with them.
Yeah.
Unlike now. So yeah.
Yeah. I feel like as well, for me personally, having these friendships prepared me better for university, where a lot of my friends were international students. And like a lot of people probably would find it hard during summer. I mean, I've seen like two of my university friends this summer. I spent a month in person at university this past academic year, which is crazy. Like it's not much time at all. But I feel like a lot of people aren't really prepared for like in summer when everyone disperses and you're not around everyone every day. Whereas for me, I was like, oh, I know how to maintain this friendship over summer like very easily. And also
Yeah.
liked having friends from other countries more because I feel like one, it teaches you a lot just in general. Two, there's the language benefit, whereas if you ever go on a trip together, you've probably got quite a good amount of languages together. And if you're with someone from that country, perfect. Like Marta ordering my food in Italian because I tried to read it off the menu, but I'd learned Spanish like in school and stuff. So the way I pronounced it was like quite Spanish with a bit of like Spanish French combo, and it just was pronounced completely wrong. So she was like, I'll take care of this. And yeah, again, like having a local to show you around, like I said, Yuda, Marta, who else showed me around when I was Hannah in Hamburg. Who else? I had some people who didn't show me around, but they gave me tips on like their city and stuff. Oh, Kim in Berlin.
Yeah. But
Yeah,
generally, like when especially when you're staying at hostels, you can literally ask anybody. Usually they're like around your own age, and you can just be like, hey, do you have any recommendations, or just the staff? But usually people who stay there actually know a lot about the area as well.
Yeah, I had a lot of people when I was in Florence tell me to go to Siena, but I didn't have the time because they told me on my like last day. But now I definitely know like a lot more places and like small villages and stuff like that that's definitely worth visiting. But when I was there, I went in June, and I think it was like holidays for maybe Aussies or something like that because everyone was Australian. Literally everyone, or American. There was a lot of Americans as well, but it was kind of a divide. Like like they had like, you say they had like a dining hall, the Aussies and everyone else one side, the Americans on the other. There was a lot of Koreans and Singaporeans as well, actually. But I remember like I was either completely different nationality. There was hardly any British people. I guess it's because summer doesn't really start till late July for us in terms of like holidays and stuff. And also I was younger than everyone because unless you'd taken a year out of education, you'd still be like in education till the end of July sort of thing again. So everyone was sort of like late 20s, to be honest with you, which is quite weird because everyone else I've told, like everyone's like, oh, everyone's normally like 19, and I was like, I don't know about that. But I liked it though. Like it didn't stop me from making friends with anyone. I've still got a couple of people I follow and talk to now. All of who I actually met in Italy. I don't think I talk to anyone that I didn't met in Italy anymore. Oh, there's someone who goes to my university who, if I see, I'll say hi that I'm in Germany. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you remember your first internet friends?
Oh, I was a big Ariana Grande fan. But like I don't think I made that good friends with anyone until it was like people I talked to a bit, but like not really friends. And the only one would be my friend Mo, who I haven't actually spoken to since last August. I've still got his number on my phone. We used to talk fairly regularly, and then just kind of things got busy. I could message him again. I haven't spoken to him in ages, but he's probably the first one. But we haven't spoken since last August. I looked at my WhatsApp thinking, oh, I'll message him, it's been a while, and it's been a year, and I was like, I might just leave it now. I don't feel the need for a friendship to have to speak to someone every single day, and I think that is because also of the long distance thing. I know so many people that speak to their friends all day every day. I'm not interesting enough for that. I don't have enough topics to talk about. Like, not enough
You
is going
don't?
on my life. Well, maybe, but like,
No, you won't have enough topics, but you will have enough conversation to like, you will have
yeah.
enough to talk about for like days and days and days. But I
Hmm.
don't know, it just drains you. Or
Exactly.
it does for me at least. And there's a couple group chats that I talk to every day. Currently there's only one that I really talk to. But like the conversations just skip, I don't know, change so fast. Um, and there's quite a lot of people, so everybody has like their own thing to say. And I feel like that's a lot, I don't know. I feel like that's a lot different compared to individual
Yeah.
conversations every single day.
As well, like I've kind of briefly touched upon this already, like it improves the way, like eventually most people don't live in the same place they met all their friends, even if they met all their friends like in person the first time around. Like if you meet all your friends at university, eventually you're probably all going to move to different places. Not always. Some of you could all end up living in London, but you could all end up living in different parts of London, which
Yeah.
still could feel quite like a big difference to living in the same house or next door to someone. But I feel like, as well as, you know, making you able to deal with distance and things like that more, it also gives you like a more multicultural outlook on the world. Like the way you realize the way you learn things in your country is not always the correct way, or like you realize that every single place is different, and it also gives you an idea into like languages and things like that. Like there's certain words I can pick up in pretty much every language that everyone speaks now because I've heard them say it. Do I know
Mm-hmm.
language? Absolutely not. But then I remember you were talking in Dutch and I could figure out what you were saying.
Yeah.
In London, and do I speak a word of Dutch? No, I don't even know how you would say hi to someone. Like, but you were like talking in Dutch, and like you were talking about where you were staying and stuff like that, and like I obviously could pick up the English place names and stuff, and then I could figure out all the rest of what you were saying from that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
So I was like,
that's
oh.
a good part about languages, I guess, because especially when I mention like, oh, I'm staying here or in that area or whatever, like you hear that.
Yeah.
So then you already obviously know. I have the same thing with German. Like I will hear like or understand maybe 2, 3 words out of an entire sentence, and I'll be like, oh, okay.
You can like piece it
I
together. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I find that.
I remember like every time I was in bars or something with my friends and they were speaking German to each other, I would like sometimes like listen just to see how much I could understand.
Yeah.
And usually sometimes they would start laughing, and they would look at me and start explaining what they were laughing about to just like include me, which was so sweet. But
Yeah.
like I was like, I know what you're talking about. There was like, I remember this one time we were at a party, and they were talking about like the game What Are the Odds, and somebody like was like, oh, what are the odds you would do this?
Yeah.
And uh I could I didn't know, I don't even remember the German words, but like he started explaining the game. I was like, oh, I know that. That's what are the odds?
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he barely even started explaining the game really. Like I just knew what they were talking about because they had just done it.
Yeah. Yeah.
um it's just like those kind of things. And that happens a lot actually. What I also find very interesting, because I do have a lot of German friends, but my Austrian fans, what?
My
my
Austrian
Austrian,
fans.
my fans, my Austrian friends, I understand better when they're speaking German, and I don't know why.
I think it's the accent, probably.
Probably, but yeah, I mean, I am more around them, and I hear
Yeah.
that more often than my German friends, so I guess that makes sense. But
I find that with like, I mean, obviously I'm learning French, which I'll get onto in a minute because I've got something funny to say about that. But I could understand the accents from the north really easily, like sort of Normandy, like I guess Paris as well. It's fairly neutral from there. Not too hard to understand. I mean, Parisians use a lot of slang, which I don't necessarily get, but like I can understand the accent. someone from the South or like Monaco, don't even speak to me. I've got no clue what you were saying. No clue. Like, and people find that weird because I can understand like the Quebec accent in Canada, which is really, really strange. But because every single word they say is strange, you just get used to it, like you can figure it out. Whereas it's just, I can't understand the accent from the South at all. It ruins my life. Like, I don't get it.
That. So I'm now like having that word. What sentences? I now have an internship. I now have an internship in tourism, and it was like last week or something. There were some guests, and they were speaking like a combination of German and French, and I was like,
"Oh, they're from like
really huh?"
Strasbourg or somewhere like that. I don't know if that's how you actually say it, but like on
No,
the border.
I was very confused, and I asked them like, "Oh, where are you guys from?" And they were like, "Luxembourg," and I was like, "Oh, okay,
yeah, of course,
that makes sense." And I was so confused because I was like, "Are you French? Are you German? Like, what language am I supposed to like speak to you? Should I just be English? Should I just try speaking some German that I know, or like, because I definitely won't try any French, like." Not me, wrong bitch. But like, it's so interesting. I don't expect people to know like Dutch, as long as you can speak English or German or something, like that's
something that's spoken quite widely. Like, yeah,
then I'll be fine. And even if you don't even speak any of that, I'm sure. Like I've had
hand gestures.
when last year actually, when I worked at the same company but just in a different department, they there were some guys a little older than me, and they were Polish, and I was like, I have no clue what you're saying, so they got out their phones and they just put it in translate, and I was like, oh, I still don't know what you're talking about, but I had a Polish coworker.
Oh yeah.
So I just walked over to her and be like, these guys want to know something. I have no fucking clue what they're on about. Good luck. She later explained to me that they were looking for like the prepaid card things for their phone.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And we rarely sell the what the heck are words? We rarely sell those anymore. I cannot speak. I can tell I've just been speaking. I have not been speaking English as much as I used to, because I'm in like a Dutch group chat now.
Yeah.
It's just Dutch all the time, pretty much.
Yeah, I get that, yeah.
Now I'm just mixing up words.
Yeah, for me, like, I'm in a weird place between I want to practice my French, but the French are really mean. So I don't want to practice my French. Also,
are they mean, or are they just like a little bit like the Dutch, like whatever?
They're perfectionists. So if you get like a tense wrong or something like that, they'll be like, and the grammar and stuff, they're very like I said, they're very protective over the language. You've got to get it 100% correct. But even I'm like, okay, then is your English 100% correct?
Can we exactly. Talk about
no,
I mean, you could probably talk to Manon.
Oh, I'm too scared of that. I'm definitely afraid I'm going to be hiding.
Why?
No, if I bumped into her at an ATC show, I'm just going to be like, je ne parle français, no, bye.
No. She's like, you know more than that.
I'm like, no, je suis idiote, no, bye. I sounded a bit Spanish as I said that. That was bad.
No, but in the end, like, just maybe, yeah, like you were talking about on social media, just trying Italian instead, because like you've got Marta.
Yeah.
Italian is a little,
it's easier,
at least to me, it's like easier to practice. It's easier. I don't know, how do you say that? Like accessible.
Yeah.
Same with Spanish.
Yeah. Spanish, I was so bad at, and I don't know why. I found French easier than Spanish, but I think it's because my primary school had taught me French, whereas I had picked up Spanish at like 15. But I was so bad at Spanish. I remember like 3 phrases, like no hablo español, idiota, and like Italian as I say that now. It's on shit in the accents, but I don't know. I always thought I have quite a thick English accent. It's probably going to be quite hard to ever sound proper in a different language.
Maybe. Marta has told me that my Italian pronunciation is really good. Like a few years ago, I was looking up like learning the language actually.
Hmm.
And I was reading through like websites and stuff and like learning things like where it's like the Dutch or English version and then translated to Italian or whatever. And I was reading those things, and I think it kind of has to do with both language rolling their R's,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
because then it's just a lot easier. I mean, we generally roll the R's in like the back of our
Mhm.
throats while
Yeah.
they do it in like the front of their mouths, which is a difference, but I can do both.
Yeah, I can't do it. I mean, one thing I noticed is if I speak a lot of French, a certain part of my like throat hurts. And I'm
Mhm.
guessing it's because I just don't use it.
Yeah,
I
and it's like when I speak Dutch, my voice is different because it's just a different placement, and it's kind of the same thing with yeah, well, every pretty much every language.
yeah.
Because I feel like English is a lot more, for me at least, it's a lot more to the back.
Like
It's
here.
like in the middle back area.
Yeah,
While Dutch is a little bit more to the front.
yeah, I find that because I my voice is really, really low in English. I thought my voice was higher in French, but apparently it's lower,
Hmm.
which I didn't realize. I just have a low voice in general, I think. But my voice, I can feel it coming from like there, but then if I speak French, it's sort of like that, which is maybe a bad. I mean, I'm saying there and there, but people are gonna be listening to it on audio and just like, what the fuck?
Yeah. It's like the English is like, for me, more towards the back of my throat. Dutch a little bit more to the front, but then there's languages that are completely to the front
Yeah.
and even more back as well. I actually know what uh, if my voice is lower in Dutch or English. I feel like it's English.
Yeah, maybe I have heard you speak both, but I can't really remember.
It's not a big difference, I don't
You
think.
don't know. Yeah, no, I said that to my sister. I think I was like, oh my god, you sound the exact same in Dutch and English, where people normally sound like slightly different. But you
Yeah,
sound
I
pretty
don't
much the
think
exact
there's a yeah. I feel like I can hear a little bit of a difference.
same.
And this is actually really funny because right now, yesterday I didn't drink a lot of water. I was low key dehydrated, and this morning I woke up and it just hurts a little. But speaking English,
Yeah.
actually, like I can tell that it hurts more than when I'm speaking Dutch because it's such a different placement for me.
Yeah, like I said, I was practicing French last night, and a lot of it was like me reading out stuff, and my voice did hurt by the end of the night. I could feel it. Um, Whereas, I mean, in English, it does hurt if I talk for too much or too long. Obviously, if you speak for like hours on end, it's gonna hurt a bit. But yeah, it's obviously just because your voice is way more used to it and things like that. But I
Yeah,
definitely find having like tons of international friends is quite useful in a way. Not just because like you could practice the language with them or they could help you out, but also because you will have such different accents and stuff. And I feel like you do pick up bits of other people's accent and things like that. But also, it just proves to you that like you don't need to have like this say speaking English, you don't need to have like a perfect English accent. So in the same way that I don't need to have like a perfect French accent when I speak French or whatever. It just
exactly.
doesn't.
But what is really funny though, whenever I hang out with you guys or something like a lot of British people, I will start saying certain things with more of a British accent. And every time I do it, I'm like super aware of it because I don't want you guys to think that I'm making fun of you. I'm like, because you guys know my accent. Like it's not,
Yeah.
but I'm so sensitive to accents, even Dutch accents, like certain like areas.
Yeah.
I do the exact same thing. And I just know if I would move to the UK for a while, I would come back with a completely different accent.
Yeah, I know that like as well, I think one thing for me that's helped me with accents and languages. I say that as I gave my worst French accent just not long ago. Um, I need like about 10 minutes to warm up into it. But I feel like I really enjoyed mimicking different types of accents in English, like Aussie, Kiwi, American, South African, stuff like that. And because I really enjoyed doing that and acting as a kid, I think it's given me the range that I can mimic accents quite easily. And I think that really, really helps. Um, I've never tried to mimic any of you guys. I don't know where I'd start. I think
But the
doing
thing is, as
yeah,
well, like my accent is just European. Like you can't really
Exactly.
pinpoint where I'm from. So you just be like, okay, kind of American, but like kind of European, like where find the balance. I don't know. I feel like the Dutch are very, I don't know. They
Apparently Dutch is
adjust.
one of the easiest languages for English speakers to learn. So maybe there's enough similarity for it to the accent not to be that strong.
Maybe I feel
Dutch
like
and Swedish.
all of us just adjust very quickly and easily.
Yeah.
And we observe accents so well and from like a really young age. So we can change them to whatever we want, really.
But yeah, Dutch and Swedish, I think, were meant to be the easiest because you guys have the same grammar as us or something like that. Or very similar grammar.
I didn't even know that.
Because like in obviously French, Spanish, Italian, they all have like it's a bit more complicated. You're somewhere kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bit, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
German grammar is apparently a whole different thing on it in its own.
That is ridiculous. German grammar is okay. So I didn't have German classes after high school, and I wasn't even like in high school for that long. I think I only had German there for like 2 years or something, 2.5, something like that. I never got it then. And then I completely dropped learning any German at all. I hated the language for a while because my teacher was so fucking awful.
That's why
like,
French.
I'm not even kidding. This one time, she told us to like put our phones away and like put them on silent and then put them away because she didn't want to see any phones. I pulled my phone out like 2 seconds later than anybody else to turn it off, and she kicked off at me. She was so angry, and I was like, I got angry because I'm like, I'm literally turning it off. I take it out 2 seconds later, and I at first was refusing to give her my phone to like lose it for like a couple days. And then I was pissed, so I eventually walk over and I throw my phone on the table. Like, well, enjoy this. I'm like 14 years old. Like,
I love this.
Get that bitch.
Why you be like, go to the teacher? Why you beefing with 14-year-olds? You know what I mean?
Like, what's the fucking point? And also, I generally find it a very weird concept to like take kids' phones. Like, I get it because like people are, or like kids distracted nowadays especially, like are constantly on their phones and they get distracted and whatever. But at the same time, like it's their responsibility. Like if they miss anything, like it's their responsibility. And even at my last school, and it doesn't happen at this one, but my last school would take everybody's phones at the beginning of class and it would go into a locker.
What?
And you just get it by the end of class and in breaks and stuff like that. And sometimes even when, I don't know, they wouldn't even take it if we were gonna use our phones and stuff like that. But at the same time, like it was pretty much filled with adults. Like it's our own responsibility.
No, exactly. That's why at university, like, put it this way, I mean, this hasn't happened since the pandemic. We'd be in lecture halls and you'd see someone sat in front of you like online shopping. It's like, it's up to you. Like, obviously they could, like, if you're talking loudly on the phone, like, get the fuck out of my lecture hall.
Yeah, but like don't take calls. Don't take calls. But like I mean, I get it in like high school when you're like a teenager and stuff like that. Then obviously there's some different rules and it's not as much of your own responsibility. So I get it in high schools. But like after that, when you're an adult, like I don't know, just, and I get it, like a little warning and like having to change rules and whatever, but when kids aren't listening. But yeah, I don't know, it's just a weird concept to me in general. And I remember actually that teacher, I was talking about how German grammar, that was how, Anyway, yeah, I just completely started hating the language for a while, and then eventually I started enjoying it again. And ever since I started learning, I think it was like 2018,
Yeah.
I never got it, and that's what held me back from learning more and more. And even now, I actually do have classes again,
Yeah.
and it's like I just don't know what, like, how to do it, and like, and the thing is, they German speaking people, whether they're German or Austrian or whatever, they literally say like, we don't even know what we're doing.
Yeah.
We just say something like,
I
it's,
heard that.
and there's certain words where every like word you put before it is possible. So
Mhm.
it's like, or it's different in every area or whatever. So it's like, what the hell am I supposed to like just make some better rules?
That reminds me of this TikTok I saw, and it was like French. It was like how to know if a word is masculine or feminine. It's like, I can't tell you. You just got to know. And I was like,
that's exactly it with German. Like, it's so weird.
Mm.
And the thing is, like, we don't, in Dutch, there's not necessarily like masculine and feminine. I mean, not as much as in like, you know, those other languages where it's like,
Spanish, Italian,
yeah, it was like an O or an A or whatever.
yeah.
And that I get a little better because it's like two options. But
Yeah.
like in German,
It's
there's like
three though,
three or four,
in
and then
sometimes.
it's not even. I don't necessarily think it's usually the word itself, but just the thing that you put before it. So it makes it even harder because like what, like they gender tables and like
Yeah,
objects.
it's
Like
ridiculous.
what's the point?
You know what someone told me once, I find really, really funny. I'm gonna have to say this. The word for vagina in French is masculine.
What the hell? That's ridiculous. Like how? What? Okay, but like,
Isn't that
how
hilarious?
can men still say that the world isn't revolved around them?
I found that really, really funny. I think someone said it on Twitter, and that's how I found out. And I was like, huh? Like, but that's hilarious to me.
Like that is ridiculous. The
So,
fuck? I just said like men think the world revolves around them. Like, but like, you know, if you listen to this podcast, you know if it's about you or not. if you got mad, you know it's about you. If you're like, oh yeah, true, it's not.
yeah, exactly. No, yeah, like there's definitely a nice way to kind of correct people. Also, I don't like to correct people's English because I find it can come across really badly. But I feel like there is a way to do it, and I am appreciative when people do it. But you got to just be like not mean about it. I feel like that's pretty self-explanatory. I don't really know.
I feel like, especially my English grammar could be better, but at the same time, like everybody understands me, so I'm like okay with the, I don't know, the amount I speak.
Yeah.
Or how well I speak, I guess.
As well, like, I suppose for you, and I've heard, like, Marta say this as well, before COVID, like, you guys, I don't want to put words into your mouth, but this is kind of stuff you said to me before. You both thought, like, your English was better before COVID because you were traveling
Absolutely.
like, more.
Absolutely.
So,
like right now,
really
like I said, I speak Dutch a lot more. I don't talk to you guys on FaceTime or anything as much.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder now. And like I only notice when I'm like speaking like right now, and I have to think about how I word things, and if I don't, I just combine words that don't make sense, like I've done like 3 times already.
Yeah, I mean, I can't notice a lot.
It's like, especially with like the whole there and stuff, like I know the difference, and the your and your.
But that took me years to get my head around. Like in primary school, though, obviously because we'd learned it earlier. But like there, and there, like belonging. The only way I remembered it is like by putting it in contexts. Is how I remembered it. So I was like, there is in like over there. There is in like my jacket. And like that's the only way I like learned it. And the other one with the apostrophe, I only learned that by telling myself that it was 2 words like they are put together. And like it took me years to learn that, so I wouldn't want to learn that as a foreign language.
Yeah, but I feel like it just makes sense to us because we're so aware of like it is a different language.
Yeah.
And obviously there's people that just don't care.
English
Which
speakers
is a
constantly. But I feel like with us, it's something you learn in primary school, so you should know, versus like a foreign language is a lot harder.
yeah. I feel like I don't know. I've had a lot of people tell me that I speak English a lot better than the general public in the UK, especially in America. Even I've had a lot of Americans tell me that as well, which is so funny because it just gives it more of like the American stereotype, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's something I've noticed though with my English. Talking to you guys, my English in theory has actually got worse because I'm using more American, Aussie, like different variations of words you wouldn't use in British English. So in theory, my English has actually got worse. But I think it doesn't really matter because everyone still knows what I mean. But I might say something like, instead of sun cream, I'll say sunscreen or something like that. And that's not an English word. That's an American word.
You know what's actually really funny? Because I remember a while ago, I was talking to one of my American friends and I mentioned sun cream and she was like, what are you talking about? Do you mean sunscreen? I was like, do you just not know?
How you just figure out what it means?
There's like 3 different words that I can come up with right now for the same thing.
Yeah. Sunblock also is another one you can use. I think that could be American, it could be Aussie. I don't really know.
It's like, I mean, it literally says what it is. And as long as it's like sun cream, sunscreen, sunblock,
like if you say it to a British person, they'll probably be like, okay, that's not the English version of the word, but like I know what you mean.
Yeah. But I feel like English people generally know more of the American version than Americans know about the English version.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like Australians know British English quite well because like a lot of British people have Australian family and so on.
And their spelling is the same pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
And
the Aussies like abbreviate everything though. Like McDonald's is Macca's. Like who the fuck decided that?
But also like there are so many similarities between like the typical British accents and Australian accents.
I think so, yeah.
It just sounds a little, I don't know how to explain it in English, but it just sounds a little different, but a little more lazy.
The Aussie accent is kind of more like that. It's kind of how I sound a bit, but then like the Kiwi one is more like nasally, so like that. But I can do those accents decently. It's like not, I can tell I'm not from there, but like, yeah. But it's really easy for me to slip into those accents versus like an American accent. So I can see like how it would sound really different to a foreign speaker as well. How does like, I've had some people tell me they can tell different accents apart in English, but some people can't. And I think I wonder if it just varies per person because, like I said, I can tell different accents in French, but I wonder if some people it all sounds the same. But for me, I can tell the difference.
Yeah, that's actually really funny because I remember when I was really young, probably like 7 or 8, maybe even younger, I could not hear the difference between American and British, which is fucking insane. Like
they're very different, yeah.
How? But now I can hear the differences between like North and South and like when I meet new people or British people especially, like I'm like, oh, are you from around there?
And they're like,
oh yeah.
I mean, for me, one thing I've noticed is because of like how international everything is, not just in terms of like my friendships and others and things, but if I watch a TV show that's an American accent, it doesn't register to me that it's an American accent until I actually think about it. It's just like it's just English. Like I don't really recognize different accents unless say like I'm directly talking to someone. So when I'm directly talking to Evan, who's Canadian, I can really I pay so much attention to the accent just subconsciously. But if I was watching like a video of Evan talking, like it wouldn't even register to me that he's got a different accent to me. And I don't know how to explain that, but
that's actually really interesting. What I do find though, because every time I've met Evan, you guys have been around as well. And I think I mentioned this last time, but I'm like, I hear you guys' accent and then Evan starts speaking because he doesn't talk a lot. But when he does like start speaking, I'm like, wait, whoa, your accent is so fucking strong. Like, what is this about?
No.
And then like, it's just like a Canadian accent. Like, it's not that deep. But
exactly.
It's so funny because I don't know. It just, you suddenly notice it a lot easier.
I find that when I meet ATC, like my accent stands out a lot more. I don't really know. And then I know that it does for them as well, because Chrissy was asking asking their photographer how they'd copy my accent, which I
I
found quite
remember
funny.
that.
But he was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "Oh, York." And he was like, "Huh?" Because I think he's from like Brighton, where like India's from. And I was like, "Yeah, my accent is like a southern accent. I don't have like a northern accent. I can't really explain why, but
It just kind of happened.
exactly, it just happened. I don't really know how. I think
But
it could
what is your sister's accent like though? More like yours, or more I don't know.
sort of in the middle. She doesn't have the regional accent, but she doesn't have as strong as I do.
Hmm.
It's probably where you can tell she's from here on certain words, but it just kind of sounds very like you can't really pin it down to anywhere.
Yeah, because what I remember hearing from like your dad speaking, you guys have pretty much the same accent.
You think so? My dad definitely, you can tell he's from around here, but it's very mild, if that's.
I mean, it's not like I've heard your dad speak a lot, but like we haven't had a whole conversation, but because you always mute him.
I do, because he likes to mimic accents just like I do. And he has like a Dutch one, and he really wants me to let you see it.
I really want to hear it though. I really do want to hear it, because it's just, your dad is such an icon. He's so funny.
My mum's hearing this and she's like punching the wall.
No, but I'm for real. Like, I've mentioned this before, but you guys need to like make a TikTok for like all the funny content.
He went
Everybody
viral
would love it.
last year, actually, on my sister's TikTok. 250,000 likes or something ridiculous, or
Oh,
views. I'm not
jeez.
really sure. It was yeah. I made her take it down. I'm sorry. Like, I was in it as well, and I was like, I'm not happy being in it. Can you like please take it down? But yeah, that kind of went quite off track quite quickly. But that was episode 3. We hope you enjoyed. Most people probably have no clue what we're talking about the entire time. But if you were mentioned in this, enjoy. Um, so yeah, that's that. So we're gonna be posting some more on the socials these days, because my social media management of that account was just trash. So I'm gonna make up the game a bit. And we should be back fairly soon for another episode. I'd probably say 2 weeks to be safe. But we will decide what's going on soon. And yeah, everything's on the social media. But this has been great, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.